¿Está bien la temperatura? Got it.
Okay.
That was to the YouTube.
Oh, to the YouTube.
It takes a
Okay.
picture right at the beginning. You know?
That's good. That's good.
We'll say goodbye to this Mirabai Selba. This right here, Mexican American kirtanista. I don't even know if she's American, Mexican kirtanista. Very beautiful. Hello, Javier.
Hello.
Thank you for the neuroscience video. That was
You're welcome.
reaffirming. I like it when science agrees with the teachings. Maybe right there. Actually, I gotta put you guys on hold for a second.
Anybody forget a ring at the sink? Maybe it's a bit important, sorry. Continue. Yeah.
Carlos, could you shut those lights off? Yeah, just that button does it as well. Maybe that's a little too much. There we go. We got Emilio as well as joined. Hello, Emilio. Guys are all on mute.
Hello, Jean.
I need to call you this week. I will try to remember. Let's see. Gallery. Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'm going to put you on mute. 1934. We have everything I need. I think so. Okay, well, welcome everyone to the Sunday English Sangha at Saladana. Why don't we start? We'll go around the room. Just say your name. Start with you.
I'm Stefan.
Stefan, okay.
I'm Sandra. I'm Sarah.
Sara?
Borja.
Borja?
Ricardo.
Carlo?
Juan.
Juan?
Patricia.
Patricia?
Esther.
Carlos.
Carlos? Jim? And on the computer, we starting at the top, we have, go ahead, Gore. Now you guys got to unmute.
I'm Javier. Yeah, that's me, Gore. Right.
Okay, thank you.
It's Emilio here.
Emilio and Javier. Oh, and we have another box. Who's in the blank box?
Could be me, another Stefan. Hi there.
Oh, another Stefan, okay. You don't have a phone in your pocket, right? Okay. And I guess someone just has come. I will not remember your names until you've told me about 50 times, but I figure, like trying to learn Spanish, I literally need to learn it 50 times, and then it might stick. It's terrible. But it is as it is, and this is what we're going to talk about today. Welcome back. Tell us your name while you find. Huh? Ima. Okay. So Ima, you want to get a Kohen and stuff? So what I thought we would do, just kind of a summary today, in addition to meditate, which we will do in a few minutes, is just kind of talk about the Four Noble Truths, probably the most well-known and agreed upon teaching in the Buddhist tradition that there is. All the traditions of Buddhism agree on the Four Noble Truths, and yeah, it's one of those things where I think you can't review it too many times. It's like the 50 words of Spanish or the 50 times of hearing the names. I think it's good to hear the Four Noble Truths probably 50 times or 500 times, I don't know. And I'm going to talk about it after the meditation, but I will mention that the very first truth in Buddhism is that there is this thing called dukkha. Dukkha is the Pali word, and it means unsatisfying or stressful or suffering or painful or yuck, or probably the best translation is bummer. Do you guys know bummer? God, that was such a bummer, you know. That is probably the best translation I know of for dukkha, because bummer can cover everything, right? Well, hi Lara, welcome back. Bienvenida de nuevo. Now, there's another really pithy, short, concise way of defining dukkha, and that is things that you wish were different or wanting things to be different. Or, you know, really, actually, I'm going to take that back. That's probably better. The second truth is that we want things to be different. That wanting things to be different creates the dukkha. That's probably a better way to put it. So for me, for instance, I would love it if I could remember your names in one time, or a Spanish word after hearing it one time. But in this lifetime, I don't think it's going to happen. It's the way it is, right? I don't remember things very easily, and I got to learn them many, many, many times. So the idea is to accept things as they are, and that will bring us to the third of the Noble Truths, is when we let go of wanting things to be different, when we let go of that struggle of what we call craving, you know, the craving. Anhelo is kind of a word, kind of yearning. Or another way, you know, it's put in Spanish is sed. It's like this sed that goes on forever. It's not satiating. You cannot not be thirsty. You're just always thirsty. The accepting is like drinking the water, right? And then we can. And the fourth one is a path to help us drink water when we need it, drink water more regularly, drink water wholesomely, healthily, and so forth. So we'll talk about that after the meditation. But the main thing to kind of think about when we're meditating now, because this is one reason why we meditate, is to really understand dukkha. This is like fundamental in Buddhism, to understand suffering or to understand unsatisfaction, if that's a word, dissatisfaction, or stress, or whatever. And so when we're meditating, we're going to use an anchor like the breath or the body. But what you're going to notice is there are going to be a whole bunch of thoughts. And if you're lucky, you're going to be able to see your thoughts a little more clearly than normal, because you're going to maybe have a moment where there are no thoughts, or there seems to be none, and then one will pop up, and then you can notice it. Different than when we're in a busy day, when the thoughts are just coming, they're bombarding. We don't notice them really. We're lost in them. But when we meditate and calm the mind a little bit, then we can watch the thoughts more clearly. And so, notice, what kind of thoughts do you have? Are they wanting things to be different? Are they wanting you to be more concentrated? Are they wanting the meditation to be more pleasurable? Are they wanting, noise in the street to be less? Or for me to talk less? Or are they wanting to move your body because you think this posture is uncomfortable, or whatever, right? We just notice. And we establish mindfulness. That's literally what we do. So we're sort of establishing this viewing without wanting it to be different. That would be like a definition of mindfulness. Paying attention without wanting it to be different than it is. Paying attention and accepting it as it is. So that was a lot of words, but hopefully you get it, and we'll practice a little bit like that. Hello, you guys. Okay, we're good. I look like I don't know, I don't need that. I got my black mask on, which I guess my voice is not muffled, right, Carlos? You guys are able to hear me pretty good?
Here, yes.
Are there any questions? Doubts? Concerns? Fears? Okay, I'm very happy to hear that there are none. My family is having a little mini crisis in California, so I'm in on the text, but my mother was able to get out of bed on her own, so that was good. First, she didn't think she could. So we're going to meditate for about 30 minutes. So this should give you lots of time to observe your thoughts, right? So you can be very patient. You don't need to hurry. So here we go, guys. Oh, I think I'll turn that off. There we go. Maybe one. Any sleepiness? Anybody sleepy? Okay, so we'll go a little bit darker. Okay, so first step, find a comfortable posture, right? So we want to be comfortable in our posture, but not so comfortable that we're going to fall asleep, because we want to stay alert. It's very difficult to notice your thoughts, for instance, if you're sleeping. You might notice some dreams, but so our posture is comfortable, but also erect, and you might say dignified, like the Buddha. After a while, as many of you know, it just starts to become natural to just fall into, find that comfortable, dignified posture. It starts to feel like home. But until those muscles are fully developed, it can feel a little uncomfortable at times. But don't worry. So we've got our comfortable posture. And now let's notice or connect with, you might say, this posture, this body, with your attention. So one way to do that is to feel it, right? To experience it. Another way to establish mindfulness, establish presence in this moment, present moment, is through sounds. So we don't push away the sounds around us. We are aware of them. We don't judge them or label them, make a story up. We just let them come and go. So we have what one of my teachers calls an embodied presence. So we're present, we're aware through our body. Maybe at first the thoughts are too many, too fast, maybe confused. So we try not to feed them, try not to add anything to the thoughts. Just let them go about their business and keep coming back to the body and to the sounds. So now you may have noticed the movement of the body caused by the breath. So I invite you to now turn your attention towards the breath, letting the body and the sounds move into the background. So now let's feel or experience the breath. So not any stories about it. It's not an intellectual process. It's experiencing the sensations of breathing. Movement of the belly, the chest, maybe the shoulders, and any sensation at the nostrils. And just see if you can keep your attention on the sensation or sensations of the breath. And then when you notice that your mind has drifted into thought, no worries, you let that go, and then you come back to paying attention to the sensations of the breath. If it's supportive, you can label your breath, breathing in, breathing out, for instance. Or you can even count your exhalations, maybe up to 5, and if you get to 5, just start again, or if you get lost, just start again. Ways to keep you connected to the breath, labeling or counting. Now, if you're willing, I invite you to pay attention to the breath at the nostrils. Maybe you already were doing it that way, but if not, see if you can follow the breath right at the nostrils. If that becomes too tiring or difficult, you can always go back to following the breath throughout the body. But to see if you can rest your attention on the breath at the nostrils. You might notice how each breath might be a little bit different, or how the exhalation might be slightly different than the inhalation. Now, if you are willing, I invite you to notice the kind of thought that arises. That is, notice what the thought wants. Is it wanting more pleasure? Is it wanting less discomfort? What is it craving? What is it wanting? Don't feed it, it just arises. We're aware of the thought, and we let it go. Go back to the breath until another thought comes, and they will keep on coming. You don't need to force them. So, very good. Now, wherever your attention has been or where it is now, let's return to the body, reconnecting to the body, filling it with awareness, with attention. Reestablishing that embodied presence if it had gotten away from us. And then bringing your attention to your heart space, your chest area, for a little ending metta and gratitude practice. So thanking yourself mentally for your practice, the goodness of your practice, for taking time out on this Sunday, which for some I think is a puente. Here you are, connecting with yourself and taking care of yourself in this way. And then taking this gratitude and extending it to the people in Saladana in the room, and those on Zoom, in their rooms or on YouTube, thanking them for the goodness of their practice and for supporting our practice. And sending this gratitude and this goodwill, these wishes out in all directions, touching all of life with this unconditional friendliness. And when you hear the sound of the bell, just see what comes up in the mind. Is there a thought of, oh, finally, or too soon, or whatever it is? Thank you. Feel free to move if you need to now. We'll take a little walking meditation break in a little bit. But if you need to move your legs or that off. You know, when I was thinking about what to talk about today, I'd already kind of decided that I wanted to at least bring up the Four Noble Truths, but I'd also allowed myself to listen to a talk by a teacher in the United States about another of the lists of the many, many lists. There are many lists in Buddhism. And this one was about the spiritual faculties or powers, they're called. There's 5 of them. And I thought I would just mention them right at the outset, because this underlies or really summarizes well kind of Buddhist philosophy, these 5 spiritual faculties. And the first one is faith, which I know for many of you recovering Catholics, that can be kind of a scary thing, faith. In many of the Western religions, faith is very important, but the difference is that it's kind of a blind faith, right? So we blindly have faith that, there's a God and there's heaven or whatever and stuff. While in Buddhism, it's more almost like a skeptical faith, right? It's like, prove it, right, to me. But you got to have a little bit of faith to just come here, right? Especially if you're new. You must have a little bit of confidence or a little bit of belief or a little bit of faith that there may be something here that you want and that you could use, right? So we get a little bit of faith. And then this faith leads to energy. So this is the second of the powers, which for those of you who are here for the 7 factors of awakening, it's also one of the 7 factors of awakening, right? It's one of the factors, energy. And then energy leads to mindfulness, which many of us now know about mindfulness, right? This is such a common word and a practice, and there, it's also apparently like a multi-billion in English dollar business, or billion euro, or million. What do you guys say? 1,000 million is a billion, or a million million? I don't know. You have another way of saying a billion, but many euros, right? A business around mindfulness. But this is a natural kind of result of the energy. So we start to become a little more calmer, a little more concentrated. And then this can lead to samadhi, right? Which, for those again who are here for the 7 factors, knows that this is the 6th factor, and it's a very important one, and it's also one of the eightfold, Noble Eightfold Path. It's the final one, samadhi. And then that leads to wisdom, and this is where I really wanted to go with this, is wisdom. Wisdom is the final of the 5th powers. And one could almost say that in Buddhism, the antidote to our suffering is wisdom. The cause of our suffering is ignorance, and the antidote or the solution is wisdom. And this is a wisdom path. Right? This is not to be taken on blind faith. This is an active path. This is something we do, right? And then we see for ourselves how we suffer. And it was very important at the time of the Buddha and since to really understand what this dukkha is about. To really experience it, not only in ourselves, but then we can experience it in others. We can be compassionate to their suffering because we understand what it's about, what it is, right? And in the many teachings around dukkha, going back to the very first one that the Buddha gave to his 5 friends in Sarnath in India, he talks about the way we suffer, the way dukkha arises. And I'm going to summarize crudely, what it said. I do have in this book, which for some reason, there we go. I was facing the wrong way, facing you guys. He said that we believe that things are permanent when in fact they're impermanent. So this is a confusion, right? We think things are permanent when in fact they're impermanent. And this applies to all conditioned phenomena, right? There's nothing that is permanent forever. Everything changes. And some things change a lot faster than others, right? And some things change maybe faster than we wish, maybe seemingly kind of slowly, like our bodies, This is a perfect example, right? As our bodies change. And as we get older, I can see there's some young bodies here, and then, there's me. There's a couple that are maybe experiencing how, it starts to change. And we don't want it to change. We want it to stay, right? So that causes suffering. Because, sorry, it's going to change, whether you like it or not. And then we think things are going to bring us happiness, when in fact they're not going to bring us happiness, that being the dukkha. We think things are satisfying, and maybe they can be for a minute, or maybe a day, or a week, but then it stops. And that when something is satisfying and then it's not, that's dukkha, right? That sucks. That's a bummer, right? Was really happy for a while there, Real Madrid was winning, and, And then the one that gets really kind of complicated, and I love this one. In fact, I did listen to something that might be kind of helpful. But we take things as being personal when they're not personal. This is probably the one that afflicts us the most, is we think things are personal when they're not. And depending on how I take a risk of saying this, but depending on kind of how emotionally mature we are, or maybe how far along the path we are, or something like that, we can think that everything is personal, like a little child, right? They're very egocentric, and they think everything has to do with them. It's all personal. And some, they grow up into bigger bodies, but they're still like that, like, Donald Trump or something. They think it all has to do with him. I'm going to read something. Maybe I'll bring, these guys have a chart to look at, and you guys don't. So I'll bring the chart up first, which I think is it this one? Can't read my little thingy here. Let's try this one. No, I don't know what the heck that is. Vaccine information, that was weird. Hold on, I'm having challenges with my contacts. Maybe if I go here and then I push here, can you guys see the Four Noble Truths? Good. Whew. Okay, so just that I wanted them to be able to see it online as well. So here, starting with the first one, we have dukkha, the truth of it. So they're called the truth of Four Noble Truths. Truth of dukkha, or suffering or satisfaction, the truth of the cause of dukkha, the truth of the sensation of dukkha, and the truth of the path, which is the Noble Eightfold Path, which you can see right here, and these are the steps, which we'll maybe get to at another time, but not today. Now, let's see, if I go stop share for a second, and then I hit share again, and then I go to Mr. Goldstein. So we use this book by Joseph Goldstein, a very prominent American teacher, about mindfulness, because he does such a wonderful job of explaining these various things. And so I'm going to use him. Let's see. Find the beginning. Okay, First Noble Truth, dukkha. It's funny. Usually when I do it on my tablet, it colors it here, but it didn't do it this time. Wonder why that is. Okay, gotta find it. Here we go. Okay, so this, starting right here, this is the Buddha speaking. as we understand it. We don't know for sure. They didn't write anything down for like 300 years. What happened is that the monks would memorize it and chant it, and then pass it down to the next generation, That went on for some number of hundreds of years before they finally decided, maybe we should write this down. And they're still chanting it. There are places in Asia where they still chant these same chants, especially out of this particular sutta about dukkha, even to this day. So this is the Buddha speaking as far as we know. Just as bhikkhus is translated as, it could be monks, it could be beggars, it has different meanings, but it's his followers. If anyone should speak thus, without having built the lower story of a peaked house, I will erect the upper story. So without doing the primero planta, no piso, I'm gonna build the second one first. Right? One would think, it's probably not going to work. The Buddha said, this would be impossible. Impossible. So too, if anyone should speak thus, without having made the breakthrough to the noble truth of dukkha as it really is, the origin of dukkha, the cessation of dukkha, the way leading to the cessation of dukkha, I will completely make an end to dukkha. So without understanding these things, I will be finished with dukkha. He says that is impossible. That's like building the second story of a house without building this first story first. That's his simile, right? And he says then, just as bhikkhus, if anyone should speak thus, having built in the past, the lower story of a peaked house, I will then erect the upper story. This would be possible. So too, if anyone should speak thus, having made the breakthrough to the noble truth of dukkha as it really is, the origin of dukkha, the cessation of dukkha, the way leading to the cessation of dukkha, I will completely make an end to dukkha. This is possible. So basically what he's saying is super important. It's like the first floor of a two-story house is the understanding of this first noble truth, dukkha. So as you can probably guess, there's a lot of emphasis on this particular truth and on this particular thing. He even went so far as to say, let's see if I can get this here. I wish it would have just kind of popped in here. It didn't. So I'm going to have to, oh, right, here it is. I see it. So this is almost kind of sad, but whatever is felt is included in dukkha. That's like everything. Every experience we have, every feeling we have falls within this dukkha. How is that possible? Because sometimes things are really nice, right? And and we're happy, and how could that be suffering, or how could that be unsatisfying? And the perspective, and this is one of the reasons, maybe you've heard this, but I used to hear it years ago, that some people didn't like Buddhism because it's so negative. It's like life is just suffering, right? And that sucks, And the Buddha even said, he said, I only teach this one thing, suffering and the end of suffering. That's all I talk about. But his point is that every little thing, because it's subject to change, is never going to be permanently satisfying, and hence dukkha will arise. Even if we've got that great, this shirt, I just got it at Ganso. It's really nice. You see, it's got this little zipper and everything. And, I've been enjoying it now for 3 or 4 days. I went on a shopping spree. It's Carlos's fault, but he got me on that street, and there's nothing but stores there. And much like the other clothes that I have, including several Ganso shirts, eventually it's like, I don't like them. They're not so nice. I need a new one, which is how our whole economy runs. Our whole economy runs on dukkha, on the idea that you need another one. right? You buy this clothes, it's, jewelry, car, whatever. It's good for a short time. And then dukkha sets in, and then you go buy another one to try to satisfy the suffering. Right? Now here's my little spin. This doesn't come from Joseph Goldstein, so I'm going to turn that off for a second. This is a little spin that I have. And others share this. Dukkha arises from our inherent survival instincts. This is how deep it is within our nervous system. Because if you think about it, to survive, especially, many millenniums ago, we needed to always be on the lookout for food, for safety, for a mate, for these things. We needed to be hyper-vigilant on, we humans, right? Maybe other animals as well. Constantly looking for food, so craving, constantly wanting, constantly looking, okay, to improve my situation, food or whatever. And on the other hand, we also had to be very vigilant about things we didn't like that could harm us, right? Like maybe a saber-toothed tiger or another band of people who wanted to take away my, what little bit I had or whatever it is. So we're constantly wary, that word wary, like worried, but kind of on guard about those things that can threaten us. So now you take this to this modern life that we have now, and these instincts are still very deeply within us. And so we're constantly trying to improve our life by either getting something that we think will make life better or getting rid of those things that won't. And there have been studies, done on this where even people, in fact, maybe it's even worse, people that are like super wealthy, they have got every material thing you can ever imagine. They're often the most miserable, which we think, why? Because that craving hasn't left them. There's no cessation of the craving. And in fact, in some people who are very rich, it's even greater because they practiced it and they have fed it more. And so then they got everything. And then their brain is like going, no, you need more. And it's like, of what? But they're just constantly unsatisfied. And this isn't because we're bad people or the rich are bad or anything like that. This is just how we're built to survive. And maybe the designers, if there were any, right? There's a funny thing in America, I don't know how popular it is now, but it used to be kind of popular about intelligent design, right? Like there's some, force out there that is of intelligent design and it created us humans. And supposedly we're designed in a certain way. And this is a flaw, right? Because they probably didn't expect us to really have all of our basic needs met like we do now. We may have gone much further than maybe the intelligent designers ever imagined. But anyways, that part is still going. And this is, I think, what the Buddha might have been referring to when he talks about whatever is felt is dukkha. Because you can feel it. It's like, I don't know. In fact, I'm talking more than maybe I wanted to, but I'll notice this, I'll wake up in the morning and then immediately my brain is like scanning, okay, what do I need to worry about? What do I need to fix? Who's mad at me now? What? It's like immediate. And if I was living in a cave or whatever, it's probably I wake up, okay, which bear, saber-toothed tiger, whatever, wants to eat me now? It's the same thing, really. And obviously then I don't feel great when I wake up. I got these thoughts and I gotta take action to calm them down, because that is the default mode default mode for my brain is worry. Or plan, which planning is really just a form of worrying, right? It's worrying about the future. So as one of my teachers, Vinny Ferraro, funny guy, he would say, he goes, we are, how does he put it? He goes, we are nervous creatures. We are just nervous creatures. That's the way we're built, to be kind of nervous, constantly going like this. And so, it's hard to be happy when you're nervous. Dukkha. It's dukkha. Now, the Buddha believed, what time is it? I want to make sure, we should stop in like 1 minute and then we'll have our little walking meditation because I think it's important. He believed that we could cease, end, terminate, akabar, suffering. But we had to go to the source of it, which was this craving. And he would even say, we are going to go against the stream. The stream is going this way because this is the way the survival instincts push us, right? Even back then, I don't think they had malls, but, people consumed and stuff, and everybody's going with it. And we're going to go against the stream. In other words, it's not going to be easy, but it's doable. We can do it. And we do it with wisdom. We do it with, hopefully, maybe you saw some of those thoughts and you're like, wow, they wanted something different. And so then we learn to how just notice them without reacting to them and stuff, which we'll get into more. Okay, that was a whole lot of words. Is everybody lost? Pretty good? Oh, good. Okay, so we'll do a little walking meditation and then maybe have some questions, and then we'll end with a loving kindness, metta, goodwill practice. Does that sound good? You guys at home? Okay. So is anybody new to walking meditation? Okay, I will explain it, or a version of it. So with walking meditation, instead of paying attention, for instance, to the breath, we are going to pay attention to our feet touching the ground. And really that impact is a good object. That touching, you can feel it, but you can also let the object be just the movement of your feet. The picking up, moving forward, placing, picking up, moving forward, placing. And so since we're paying attention to that, we want to go slow enough so that we can. We don't want to be in a hurry. And since we're not going anywhere, we just pick like a 2-meter spot, and then we just walk, and then we go back and forth, which maybe go this way. And when thoughts come, just like with the breath meditation, we notice them, and we just let them go on their way, and then we bring our attention back to our feet. Some teachers suggest, and it's not a bad suggestion, that when the thoughts come, you could stop walking, wait till they go, and then start walking again. I rather like that. It's kind of nice, but you don't have to do that. And if you want to get sophisticated, you could maybe line up the walking with your breath. It's a little more complicated, but it's possible as well. Any questions about that? Sometimes, in fact, maybe I will just do it. People demonstrate, so I will demonstrate. Especially for those of you. You're just walking. Just feeling the Looks like you guys got it, so we'll do that for about 5 minutes. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming back. I always think that people are just going to walking right out the door. So we have a couple minutes. Are there any questions or comments? I'd be curious to know what kind of thoughts did you observe during the meditation? Did you observe any kind of wanting, craving thoughts?
I have a question about the second noble truth,
Okay.
which is the cause. If we meditate, kind of have to let go of our thoughts, then we don't really think much about the cause of it, no? I mean, I don't know if I can explain myself. If we let our thoughts go, then how are going to identify the cause of the suffering? I don't know if I explained myself.
Yeah, that sounds good. So there was a question here in Saladana. She said, if we let go of our thoughts, how are we going to be able to identify the cause of suffering? And that's
Because
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, just a
Mm-hmm.
little.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to avoid them and go back to my breath. I know that we have to let them go kind of slowly, not really grab to them or not try to grab them or something. But if I let them go, then I cannot really think about them. Just going back to my breath.
Mm-hmm.
So then because I'm kind of rational, I cannot really, I need to understand, I have a tendency to try to understand everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So I guess the question is, if we let go of these thoughts, how are we going to be able to identify this second noble truth, or I would imagine even the first noble truth, and so forth? And probably the kind of the short answer is that these truths are known like viscerally. They're known almost beyond thought. It like becomes a knowing that you know in your bones. It might be a way to put it. And we see the cause. We don't necessarily think about it. I mean, we can, and we can rationalize it, and we can analyze it, and we can, read books, which are very helpful, and all this stuff is very helpful. But the knowing of the cause is something that comes when our mind is very calm, very still. Things are moving much more slowly, and then it's like we see it. It's like, oh, now I get it. Boom. And these things can happen like on retreat. They mainly are things that happen on long retreat, and this is one reason why we do retreats, is so that we can still the mind such that we will see things more clearly and more deeply. And the few times that this has happened to me, and I'll admit it hasn't happened many, but enough that it felt like my DNA had been remade or scrambled around. It had changed. It's like, oh my God. The thoughts are helpful, the thinking is helpful, but it's like there is a level of knowing that is beyond thought, that is deeper. And that's kind of where we're going. This wisdom becomes profound, you might say. Not that, thoughts are wonderful. I was listening, I like, he's a non-dualist teacher. His name is Rupert Spira. I love this guy, English guy. And he says, thinking is good. I love to think, he says. And it's true. It can be beautiful. I mean, when we can do wonderful things with thought, we can make poetry, and there's lots that we can do. That's fantastic. And there are other ways of knowing, other ways of seeing, other ways of being that are beyond thought. And here in the West, we tend to think that we have to think, and it's all about thinking. But in the East, where there's much more contemplative practices, they know that there's something beyond that. And see, what time is that? I don't want to. Okay, 1 minute more. This is a gym sort of a thing. Maybe other people have said this, but it's what I believe. This intelligent design, whatever it is, that made this human being, it rewards us when we do something that it wants, whatever that's helpful. And there are like penalties, you might say, for things that we shouldn't do. For instance, when we do something that is wholesome, we tend to feel good. And if we do something that is unwholesome, like steal or lie or cheat or whatever, theoretically, we should feel bad. We should feel guilt or shame or something like that, right? So these things are kind of there for a reason. And even the Buddha talked about he called it a healthy shame or something like that. It's there for a reason, to keep us from hurting people, hurting others, hurting ourselves, doing things that are not wholesome. So what I'm getting to is when the mind becomes still, it feels really, really good. And the stiller you get, the better it feels. Until you even get to a point beyond feeling good. It feels so good. You're even beyond that. And I think it's there for a reason. It's like it's there, so we'll go there. And the crude but useful example is sex, right? Sex is designed, or our bodies are designed so that we will have sex and so that we'll propagate. Well, these things can be even more pleasurable. And you're not doing anything but not thinking, right? So who am I to say for sure, I wasn't there at the design table when they created us humans, but I can tell you that stillness is better. And that's when the wisdom really starts to arise. And we'll get into that, the 3 characteristics and so forth, these things that come up when the mind is still. So I hope that answered your questions. And by all means, I read every day, I listen to podcasts every day. I love the words too. I love knowing it at that level, and I love knowing it at this other level as well. I love knowing it at all. Okay. Bueno, entonces, pues, a ver. Any others? Questions? Okay, so we're going to do a short, what's called metta meditation. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with that word, it can be translated. It's not Spanish for goal or anything like that. It's although it's a good goal, it is probably best translated as friendliness. One likes that one. Okay, good. I hit on a good one. Friendliness. So we're going to offer friendliness to ourselves with a phrase. Here we think. We use words. And then we're going to offer it to somebody you love. And then we're going to offer it to somebody you're having a little difficulty with. And then we're going to offer it to all beings. We'll do it in 4 phrases. These are kind of traditional phrases. I say it the same every week. There are many, but I use these. So I'm going to say it out loud, and then you can say it mentally to yourself. So I'm going to offer some friendliness to myself. May I be happy. Like, yeah, I want to be happy. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be safe. May I live with ease. Ease and comfort. So now the benefactor, we often will call this being. So this could be a public figure, somebody you look up to, historical figure like the Buddha or Christ. Could be a pet, could be a very loving aunt or uncle. So just somebody you love or look up to unconditionally. And we kind of use this one to warm up for the next one, which is the difficult person. So may you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. May you live with ease. And now the difficult being, the difficult person. So somebody you have a little resentment towards, somebody that maybe hurt your feelings, did something, said something you didn't like. Just imagine them here. Offer them metta, friendliness. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. May you live with ease. And finally, all beings in all directions, without exceptions. May all beings be happy. May all beings be well. May all beings be safe. May all beings live with ease. And then finally, in the tradition, the spirit of renunciation, of letting go, of generosity, giving, we offer up the fruit of our practice today, our Sangha, our community, the teachings, and our Buddha nature. Offer this up to the benefit of all beings. May all beings be happy and peaceful, healthy and strong, safe and protected. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering, free from war. Oh my God, the Ukrainians. Free from violence, racism, discrimination, and coronavirus. And may all beings find their truths, find their path, find their way that will lead to the end of their suffering. May all beings be free. Majority of the work that was done here in Saladana, including putting in the floor and so forth, was done by some Ukrainians. And I reached out to the boss, and I wonder, he didn't respond. I wonder where he is. But I was really thinking of him. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't go back to Ukraine. Very sad there. Anyways, announcement about Donna. So here at Saladana, Dana being a Pali word, it's not a woman's name or a man's name. It's a Pali word and Sanskrit word, I believe, that means dar, generosity, giving. And so what we've decided to do here at Saladana is offer everything freely. No cover charge, no cobra. And so this is a good practice for us, especially capitalists like me and stuff like that. I'm less the capitalist than I was, but and others like Nacho and stuff. I'm sure Nacho's doing fine. Anyways, and the students also, they're whatever you call yourself, participants. You can also practice dana. You can practice generosity. One way is to help us, clean up, keep the place tidy. If you see something that looks kind of like, garbage or whatever, just take it to the garbage can or something. Very helpful. It's everybody's space, right? And try to keep it as nice as we can. And then you can also leave a financial donation, make a financial donation, which is helpful because we do have expenses and so forth. There is a new box out there where you can make a financial donation. Hucha, is that, I've been using that word. But then it looks like it means piggy bank. Can it mean donation box as well? Or? Okay, good. And the hucha. Ucha. What? Ucha, yeah. And then also we now have a bank account, and so you can make a transferencia. There's a piece of paper on the board there that has the information, or on the website, and or you could do BISM. And then some of us go out to eat afterwards. We have some vegetarian food. Everybody's welcome to join us. I will be here Thursday if you want to come again and talk about the Four Noble Truths. We're going to do that also on Thursday, and I'll be leading that for Martina and Josie, who are out of town. Carlos, do you have anything that you should tell people? Or
I think you're planning a retreat in.
Yes, there'll be. Yeah, that once we get it signed up, but it looks like we're going to have a 5-day, 4-night retreat led by a Californian monk in Spanish from May 23rd to 28th, I guess, whatever 5 days after that is.
I think it's a Friday. And then
7th, okay, 23rd to the 27th.
The 27th.
Yeah, and then on the 28th, we'll have one here in Saladana, urban one. But I very much encourage, this guy's amazing. He's been here before. That's where I met him. He's here actually in this very room. He's in the Theravadan Sri Lankan tradition and speaks a beautiful Spanish as well as English. And it's a great opportunity to calm the mind and maybe have those deeper insights, that vipassana. So yeah.
Where's the retreat going to be held?
Well, we're pretty sure we're going to go for Galapagar. Is that how it's called? Galapagar. So not too far. You guys can come.
Confirmed. Yes.
Yeah. Well, once we solidify, make a deposit or whatever's needed, then I'll let you guys know. Okay. Well, thank you all. Thank you guys on Zoom. I appreciate you continuing to come. I'd rather you be here, but on Zoom is better than not at all. Okay, bye. Have a good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.